Yo, what's up? Welcome to episode 15 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton, and joining me as always is my man, Woody V. Woody, how's it going, man?
Good, Robbie. A lot to talk about. A lot happening in the world of
There's
basketball.
There's a lot to talk about, isn't there? We kind of had to rip up our run sheet a little bit with our Hawks Talk segment today and kind of restart that today. So, yeah, we'll get to that.
Right on.
Exactly. So, look, just a quick reminder, as always, where to find us. Please watch our videos on YouTube and don't forget to hit subscribe. And obviously, if you're listening to the audio, please, check that out. That's available where all podcasts are found. So look, we've got another great show today, Woods. Obviously, we're going to showcase our jerseys.
Yep.
We're going to get into some Hawks talk, which is going to be pretty topical today. Also, we're going to make some NBA All-Star starting five predictions, which we've
can't wait,
Robbie. Fun doing, definitely. We'll have a little bit of NBL discussion, and then we'll do something we haven't done for a couple of episodes, which I think we've both probably missed a little bit, and that'll be opening another classic pack for us this week. So, what do you got there, Woods? Bit of a
got
sneak
a pair
preview.
of scissors.
We got
make it easier to open. It's the
Skybox Premium.
Skybox Premium, 94.95 edition, Robbie.
Looking good. I'm looking forward to see who we get in there, mate. So, all right. So, look, as everyone knows, we always sort of showcase our jerseys at the start of the show. So, Woods, why don't you show us who you're rocking today, bro?
Of course, Robbie. Of course. So, I got Tom Gugliotta's champion Minnesota Timberwolves jersey. I'll just get up and showcase it. You can just speak on it a little bit, Robbie, while I do that.
Nice. Yeah, so Woody's got the 1990s Minnesota Timberwolves away uniform, number 24, Tom Gugliotta. He was someone that Woody and I both liked. Played on quite a few teams. He's a bit of a journeyman, wasn't he, Woods? He played for the Timberwolves, played for Washington, played for Phoenix and a few teams like that. But, yeah, what you got to tell us about Googs? And before you start, Woods, the first thing I thought of when I saw you wearing that jersey is that NBA action play back in the day with the local Minnesota commentator doing the googly, oogly, oogly, baby. So, yeah, why don't you take it away?
Nostalgic. Yeah, well, Tom Gugliotta, he was the first sixth pick in the first round of the 1992 NBA draft with the Washington Bullets, as you mentioned earlier. He grew up in New York, and the man affectionately referred to as Googs is of Italian descent, Robbie, and we don't speak about him enough.
No.
A 6'11" power forward who could stretch the floor and handle the basketball. He was a great athlete. And when we talk about some of the great players from the 90s, he often gets forgotten about. But I loved watching him play. He had a 13-year NBA career, and I wear his Timberwolves jersey today because that's where he had his best years between 95 and 98, Robbie. He made the NBA All-Star game once in 1997,
Yep.
And he averaged 20 points and 9 rebounds per game. I'll tell you an interesting story about Tom Gugliotta as well, Robbie. He had a near-death experience, He had trouble sleeping after games, and he took a supplement marketed as a sleep age, which included a chemical called GBL. And he was talking to his wife, Nikki, on his mobile phone when he collapsed and stopped breathing. Wow. His wife heard all that commotion and called the wife of his teammate, Rex Chapman, who was able to call her husband on the bus and instruct him to check his bag for the supplement bottle, and that information actually saved Gugliotta's life, as the doctors were able to give him an antidote in the emergency room moments later. Did you know that, Rob?
Oh, I didn't know that at all. That's a very fun fact. And look, it probably goes to say what you said about Googs being a little bit slept on, Woods. I mean, what did I say to you before the show started? Did Googs ever make an All-Star game, Woods? So
that's exactly
I completely
what he said.
Forgotten that he'd played in that one game. So, yeah.
Yeah, really enjoyed watching him play, and he had a very good NBA career, and we don't speak about it enough, as I alluded to earlier. So what does he do today? I just did a little research on that. He doesn't do much, Robbie. He's happily retired. He plays golf and a lot of it. And he recently moved to Atlanta to be closer to his daughter, and he's happily retired. But it's a great jersey, and I know you've got another champion jersey today, and we talk about how cool these champion edition of jerseys were. So why don't you take it away for us?
Definitely. I guess we're putting the real sort of throwback in the jerseys today. Look, I guess before I start with this champion one I'm wearing, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Nike one behind us there. So, bit of a random jersey, this one. It's a Glen Big Dog Robinson Atlanta
Big
Hawks
Dog
jersey. So, yeah, Big Dog, probably another person that, people have forgotten a little bit about, right? So,
yeah.
Look, a little bit about Big Dog. He had an 11-year career after being drafted number 1 out of Purdue in the 94 draft. 2-time All-Star. And he also won a title with the Spurs in his very last season in 2005 and basically retired straight after that. So, look, probably a few people will remember his son was in the league for a while, Glenn Robinson III. right?
Surprised he's not during COVID at the moment when all
strange,
these
isn't it?
contracts are
Everyone seems
going
to be able
around.
to get a go.
Yeah.
So maybe we will see him on a roster. I seem to remember him maybe on Indiana or Sacramento. Or
Sacramento
teams last
in preseason. Yeah.
Look, the interesting thing about this Hawks jersey as well is Big Dog only played one season with the Hawks, so I managed to jag a jersey there. I wouldn't have a bobblehead of Big Dog though. What I would? Yeah, of course I do. Yeah. All right.
Of course
so
you do.
A bit of an Atlanta Hawks Big Dog Robinson bobblehead.
How'd
there.
you get your hands on that, man?
In the same year. That's actually like one that they only had at the games there. So it's a stadium giveaway style pop. So yeah, I don't know. I had my sources back in the day with that crazy bobblehead collection. So yeah, that's a little bit on Big Dog there. So I guess the one I'm wearing, I want to preface before I go into talking about this guy. You all know how many jerseys I've got. This is probably a top 3 or even top 5 favorite jerseys to me. I really like this jersey. And we're talking an Antonio Daniels Vancouver Grizzlies jersey. So I'll just show up and stand up and show the viewers what this one looks like.
So the Vancouver Grizzlies were in existence only for a short time before they moved to Memphis. And Robbie has the classic retro light blue Vancouver Grizzlies champion Daniels jersey.
You like that one, bro?
Robbie. I love it, and I know you love.
Yeah,
I know
obviously
you
people are seeing that jersey now with sort of the Memphis have sort of brought it back, but this is the original one from back in that day. I think I've got a Big Country Reeves one in this same color as well. But yeah, Antonio Daniels. Look, I guess I wanted to talk about him. He is someone that I've always liked. Again, a little bit of a forgotten about player. So he played 13 seasons in the NBA, so he had a pretty good career. So he was drafted at pick 4 in the 1997 draft. I'm not sure if you're aware of that draft, Woods, but it was pretty good. So the 97 draft, do you remember any of the top 3 picks? Put me on the spot. I like doing that. Yeah.
I'm just having a blank right now.
How about Timmy at number 1?
No, Timmy, yeah.
Yeah, and then we got Keith Van Horn at number 2, and then Chauncey Billups at number 3.
Right,
so
okay.
Antonio Daniels was after that, and also T-Mac was taken at pick 9 in that draft. Another fun fact, just while I'm on a bit of a roll with these, there was 4 Aussies taken in that draft, Woods. So Chris Anstey was taken at pick 18. CJ Bruton was taken at pick 52. Paul Rogers at pick 53. And then another 2 picks later, Ben Pepper.
Yeah,
55.
okay.
So,
yeah.
I mean, look, a couple of those guys didn't really sort of play there like CJ and Pepper, but, the other guys, obviously Anstey had a pretty decent run there. And, Rogers was sort of on a couple of rosters there. So that's a bit of a fun fact. But, look, in terms of Antonio Daniels there, obviously, as I said, he was drafted by the Grizzlies. He then went on to play 4 seasons for the Spurs, where, like Big Dog Robinson, he actually got a title with them. So that was the 1999 title there that our boy Andrew Gaze was also on that team there. So, look, Daniels also went on to play for Seattle, Washington, the New Orleans Hornets, and he finished off with a handful of games with Philadelphia. So those sort of keen fans that watch League Pass on a regular basis will see that he is the current commentator for the New Orleans Pelicans. And look, I guess for me, I just really like the way that Daniels played. I really liked his dunks as well. There was a dunk that he did when he was playing with the Blazers where he dunked all over Andrei Kirilenko, AK-47. So for those that haven't seen that, put on the YouTube, Antonio Daniels dunking over AK-47. It is a massive dunk, that one. So a big fan of that. And just to keep the bobblehead theme alive, Woods, before I finish, I've got a San Antonio Spurs, another stadium giveaway one, Antonio Daniels bobblehead there. So nice. I like that one. He's one of my favorite sort of ones there. He's looking pretty fresh, that one there. So yeah, that's just a bit of a background on our players, Wood. So yeah, certainly appreciate you giving us the information on Googs, and it was good having a bit of a trip down memory lane with these guys, wasn't it?
He's moved to the media at the moment, Antonio Daniels, right?
Yeah. So he's a commentator with the Pelicans there. Yep. So he's on there sort of, I quite often sort of watch him there. Speaks pretty well, he's an Ohio native, I believe. So that's kind of Antonio Daniels there. So, all right, Woods, do you reckon we should get into it, mate, with a bit of Hawks talk?
Let's do it. Let's do it, Robbie.
Nothing's really happened with Atlanta this week. Actually, no, there's been a lot happening, right? So, look, as I sort of mentioned at the start, we had a few things to talk about this week with the Hawks. It's kind of been blown away a little bit today by the trade that's happened. So, Woods, maybe before we go into the trade, we'll maybe just sort of touch base on how things are currently with the Hawks. So, Look, the Hawks' current record is 17-23. They lost to Miami yesterday. We're playing Miami away from home tomorrow. Look, it's just, to be honest, it's terrible at the moment. We've lost 3 straight. We've lost 7 of our last 9 games. And this is probably the more disturbing fact. We've lost 9 consecutive home losses. Have you ever seen anything like this from our boys?
No, I can't. Even in the worst days can't remember us, losing 9 straight at home. So, yeah.
I mean, that's nearly a quarter of our sort of home games for the season that we've lost in a row. And this is going to be hard to come back from now. We're 6 games under 500, and a lot of those teams that are sort of above us are starting to play a bit better. The Knicks are starting to get a few wins. Boston's starting to get a few wins. Even teams like Indiana and Washington, they're moving up, and we're sort of moving down there. So, yeah, it's been a pretty sort of tough sort of watch the last couple of weeks. But look, I guess we need to talk about this trade today, Woods.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Cam Reddish traded to the Knicks, basically a straight swap for Kevin Knox. The Hawks do get quite a heavily protected first-round pick back. Hawks also gave up Solomon Hill, who we know is injured for the season. The Knicks will probably waive that contract anyway. But, yeah, what were your thoughts this morning when you woke up to that news?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've told you for a while now that, Cam, he has a lot of doubters, right? Whether he's going to develop into a quality player that we all, thought he could be. But the fit for him in Atlanta wasn't a great one, right? And I thought that him having another environment, he'd maybe be able to thrive more. And I said that even before this trade happened. I like Cam. So maybe a different setup, a different coach would, be good for him, and both parties would benefit from it. But yeah, I mean, he hasn't wanted to be there for a while, Robbie, right? So
he hasn't. And look, we want that sort of good locker room presence and everything else like that. Did we get enough for him, though, Woods? We've traded for Kevin Knox, who averages 3 points a game. He hasn't even been in the Knicks rotation for a couple of years. I don't know. I just thought we could have got someone better than Kevin Knox for all the sort of promise that Reddish has shown. Obviously, he showed a little bit in the playoffs. I think he probably is a little bit overrated. Look, he's a Duke boy. He's got a cool sounding name. He's got a kind of smooth, cool kind of game as well, right? So it's funny, when I kind of looked into him and Knox, did you realize, Woods, there's about 20 days age difference between the two. They're the same height, they're the same position, they're the same weight. And I think there's only about 2 number digits different as well. So it feels like we've kind of trading one very similar player for another. But do you think that maybe a change of scene for Knox could be something that might sort of work for him there?
Yeah, a lot of people said we should just waive Knox right away. But I've just read that we're going to keep him on the roster. And I think coming out of college, he had a lot of potential and he never really delivered. So I'm not ready to quite give up on him. I guess we couldn't pay Reddish, or we didn't even want to pay Reddish, right? Because it's also for salary reasons that we got rid of him and got Knox. And it's just, let's just wait and see if Knox can perform and give us something. You also have to remember Reddish was injured a lot of the time, couldn't play a lot. And I guess Knox, you could probably play him at the 4, maybe even at the 5 in some smaller lineups. So you can maybe get a bit more flexibility with him. But the jury's out, man. I think, as you said, we could have probably got more for someone as talented as Reddish. As you said, he's overrated, right? So you could have sold high on him and got a little bit more for him. So
and the Hawks have hardly been showcasing him. That could have been the sort of thing. They could have really given him some minutes and some opportunities, and it might have opened up a better trade. But look, if he wasn't being a good locker room presence and he clearly didn't want to be there, then, Nate McMillan probably had his reasons for not playing him there, I guess. Look, it'll be interesting. I think you raised a good point there with sort of us not wanting to pay him. Hawks obviously had that big influx of young players. They've paid JC, they've paid Trey. Kevin Hurt has been paid. We've obviously got to lock up, DeAndre Hunter and a Kongu as well. So you're talking just another young player we would have had to have locked up there. And, we might be able to sort of re-sign Kevin Knox for cheaper there, I guess. So,
I mean, if he proves something, he's got, half a season to see if he's worth actually staying in the league, right?
And he should be motivated. Players like this know they're not going to get a whole lot of second chances. If he goes to the Hawks and stinks it up, he might be one of these players that's struggling to get a job, next year as well. But the other thing I wanted to touch on as well, Woods, and I know we've sort of spoken about this and it's something that's really bugging us, is the Hawks defense at the moment. What is going on?
Yeah, man, it's really, really bad, right? And I think that
very bad. Last
year when we were 14 and 20, it has a different feel to it because we got it together and we went on a run. It feels different this year. Guys like Capella have regressed a lot. He's not playing team defense very well. He
was arguably a top 3 center last year in the league, wasn't he? I mean, he'd be lucky to make the top 10 this year for the centers in the NBA, I would have thought.
I agree. I mean, Trey's getting a little bit better. I've noticed yesterday that he's trying to play some passing lanes and, trying to be a bit more committed on it than on the floor. But when you talk about defense in a team concept, right? Yeah. We're struggling on rotations and making, simple errors on that end of the floor, which is costing us dearly, and not being able to put 4 quarters together, play defense in good spurts. That's great, but not being able to put 4 quarters together. We saw at the time of recording Friday the 14th, they played Miami yesterday, got off to a great start, playing good on both ends of the floor, and then just regressed, and Miami ended up blowing us out, right? Without having Jimmy Butler.
Without Butler and Bam, that's your best
Bam,
players,
right?
So Tyler Hero just burned him in that game, didn't he? So,
yeah,
it is a bit of a concern. The defense is something that, look, I don't know whether that's just a work ethic thing. I mean, obviously, we've got Capella and Okongwu. We've got some big wings there. I don't see any obvious reasons. You mentioned the Trey thing. I think anyone that sort of watches basketball, Trey's not a good defender, and no one's saying he is, but is he any different than Dame Lillard? Is he any different than Luka Doncic? Some of these other sort of point guards out there that clearly aren't that interested in defense. So, I think some of the other guys have got to step up. I mean, Trey can't do everything on this team. Everything across the board, his numbers are up there. So we need some people to step up,
Hey, one piece of good news was DeAndre Hunter coming back from injury yesterday.
Yeah.
And, before he went down, he was often put in charge of taking the hardest assignment on the other team.
He's our lockdown defender, absolutely.
And doing a great job. So hopefully bringing him back into the mix. I saw Okongwu got a start yesterday as well, who's also very committed on that end of the floor. So hopefully, there's some positive signs to move forward. Now, Robbie, let me just ask you, there's been a little bit of rumors in the air that Ben Simmons could be coming to Atlanta in a trade, and that could involve John Collins. I don't know if that got you really angry when you heard about that. So you want to speak on that, homie?
I'm not happy, Woods. I don't want us to do that. Honestly, if we can come up with some sort of a package to get someone like Simmons, and that package is, I don't know, Cam would have been good in that, but if we could give up, I don't know, Kevin Huerter and someone else good, but obviously the numbers have got to match there. I find that a bit baffling, to be honest. I mean, the Hawks played against Philadelphia in the playoffs last season. Am I saying that right? So we probably saw Ben Simmons firsthand. So I'm not quite sure. Look, if we could get him for a couple of role players and some draft picks, I'd be up for that, Trey and Ben Simmons in the backcourt. But if that means us giving up like the heart and soul of our team in John Collins, I've heard a few people say, in the last couple of days, he's unhappy there and other stuff like that. I don't always believe these sort of things, Woods. How do we know this isn't just a rival team putting stuff out there? Collins is unhappy. These things continue to spread on the internet, and before you know it, sort of teams are, trying to get him off our hands, sort of thing. So, look, I'm sure he's not happy about losing, and no one should be happy. He's one of those players that it means a lot for him there, but I would be really upset if we traded him. Honestly, I think him and Trey are just that two that we've got to keep together. So, as I said, I wouldn't be adverse to getting Simmons if we could trade the right kind of package and some future draft picks for him. But if it's John Collins and other people, I don't like that.
And we've invested a lot of time in John Collins, and he's developed in our system. It's not worth throwing that away, and we've spoken about that on the show before in terms of what he brings off the court and in the locker room. I know he's expressed some opinions about how he's not so happy at the moment and whatnot, but we should really work with him as an organization to alleviate those concerns and keep him with us. So that's my opinion, definitely.
It's interesting, isn't it, Woods? We're sort of right up to that point last year where we let Lloyd Pierce go and Nate McMillan came in and kind of turned the team around. So, obviously there's half a season to go. We've got one. Once we've played tomorrow's game, that's basically at the halfway point. So we'll either be on 17 or 18 wins in our first 41 games. So certainly we can turn this around. We have been hit by COVID a little bit, like a lot of teams have, but obviously a few injuries there. But I'm not using that as an excuse, but it's obviously got to be mentioned. But let's hope they've got the time to sort of turn this around, because it wouldn't surprise me if they do end up sort of finishing the year like they have. There could be a lot more changes potentially in the off season there.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I guess we'll watch this space. But no, that was an interesting one. Woods, like as I said, we had a big sort of run sheet down about who we should trade, this and that and everything, and then. Luckily, a couple of hours before recording, we heard the news about Cam for Knox. So, look, I'll be interested to see how Knox goes. I'm certainly hoping it works out for him, and I'll certainly be, rooting for him, I guess. But, I guess the jury's out on whether he's going to sort of be any sort of impact to the team there. So, all right, good stuff, mate. Well, look, what I thought we might go on to now is just maybe go through our all-star starting five predictions. So I know we've both gone onto the NBA website where you can vote for the starters at the moment. I've had some fun doing that. I got my daughter to come on and do it. As you know, her favourite player is Buddy Hield. So her starting backcourt in the West was Steph Curry and Buddy Hield. But, I just thought maybe we could sort of talk through who we've got. And what we're going to do, Woods, as well, is we're going to show my five, your five, and then also our super producer, Lala, just so we can sort of see if we've got any sort of differences there. So, all right, why don't you maybe start with mine, Woods, and I'll sort of talk through the five that I sort of have selected, I guess, there. But lovely looking graphic there. I'm liking that, Woods. So, look, I guess I'll start off in the East. Look, Trey for the starting guard. that's a lock in my mind, and I really hope he does make that after not making the All-Star game last year. The second guard was a little bit harder. I mean, I'm a massive Zach LaVine fan. I just think DeMar DeRozan's done a little bit more this year. Obviously, those game winners and everything he's doing has really stood out there. I thought the front court was very straightforward in the East. Kevin Durant, the Greek Freak, and Joel Embiid. I don't think there was really anyone else in consideration there from what I could see. Look, in terms of the West there, Steph Curry is a starting point guard. Every person that's picking a roster in the world will have him there. I thought the second backcourt spot was a little bit harder there. You know, you could have considered, you know, people like Chris Paul or you know, Ja Morant's obviously really pushing his case with the way he's played of late. But for me, it's Donovan Mitchell. I like his consistency. He's obviously leading Utah to a good record. He's been very consistent, you know, all season, I think. So I'm going to sort of give him that starting berth there. And look, for my West front court, I went with LeBron, just having an amazing year as he always does. The Joker, who's, you know, playing just as good as his MVP season. And for the third spot there, that was a little bit harder. I took the big cat, Karl Anthony Towns. So I know, you know, I like the guy Woods, but I think he has been really good this year. And Minnesota's played well as well.
Played much better than Minnesota this year. So
they have, yes. I think he should be rewarded with that. So that's who I think will be the starters there. What about yourself there, Woods?
Yeah, so, I mean, no difference in the East, right? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Durant, Trey, Giannis.
So we've gone exactly the same there. That's interesting.
Yeah. Exactly the same. The only other thing I might say is, I don't know, you know, Harden's obviously someone who might get the vote, you know, ahead of Trey. I hope not, you know, but it's possible, right, with the fan base there. But
well, they got smashed by OKC today. So
I saw that.
Votes away. Yeah.
Both Giddey and SGA had great games, actually. So, and in the West, look, it was a little bit harder. I mean, James, Jokic, and Steph, I think everyone's gonna have them. I thought that maybe you know, Chris Paul deserves this. You know, he's getting a bit older, but Phoenix have maintained that run from last year into this year, and so I gave him the nod. And
hey, Woods, you do realize Ja Morant's averaging double the points that Chris Paul's averaging this year, right?
I hear that. Ja Morant's going to have his opportunity to start. Yeah, this is more of a, let's say, sentimental pick for a veteran, you know, who deserves it, you know, like, and then Rudy Gobert, he's still doing his thing. And I thought about Cat, but, you know, I'm not as big a fan of Cat as you are. And I thought, you know, being a huge fan of the Stifle Tower, I went with Rudy Gobert in that center position. What about Luka, man? No, none of us had Luka.
Mate, you know, honestly, if I was picking my actual team at the moment, I wouldn't even have Luka on the West team. And I know that sounds a massive call, but there's so many other players that could be in front of him. You know, you're talking guys like Devin Booker, even someone like Anthony Edwards. If you compared Anthony Edwards' stats this year and what their team's doing to Luka, I don't think there's a lot of difference. I feel like I'm maybe being a little bit harsh, and I think for someone like Luka, he did come in out of shape. So I think maybe when it comes to the end of the year, he'll be pushing for one of the three sort of one of the three All-NBA teams. But look, at the moment, I do think he's going to be struggling to make that team. So it'll be interesting to see. And I should say as well, Woods, we are going to sort of sit in and make our reserve picks in the next couple of weeks. So I think we both agree that's going to be a lot harder picking reserves than starting fives, I guess.
Got to get my man DeJounte Murray in there somehow, man.
You'll have him in there. Can I get John Collins in there? Probably not, right?
Right. It's going to be tough, man, for both.
Not. Yeah. All right.
It's worth mentioning that our super producer Lala will be joining us actually to select those All-Star reserves. So we thought it only fitting.
Backed by popular demand, right?
Backed by popular demand. What he had over 1,000 views on that episode that he was on.
That one. Yeah, so he's sending his starting five as well, doesn't he? So yeah, what do we got for Lala?
So yeah, I mean, he's got exactly the same starting five in the East as us, you know?
He does, yeah.
Rosen, Young, Giannis, Durant, and Embiid.
It's interesting, isn't it? We've all picked the same.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people might go down that route. As you said, Zach LaVine's the other consideration. And
Zach LaVine and Harden are the only two, aren't they? I think there's no other front court player that can go in there, is there? Surely not.
No. You want to take us to Lala's West starters, Robbie?
Yeah. So he looks Lala in the West. He's got the same front court as me with LeBron, the Joker, and Towns. He's got Curry, as everyone else will have. His other front court player is Ja Morant. So it's interesting. He's got Morant. I've got Donovan Mitchell. You've got Chris Paul. So that's kind of been our one sort of big difference on the West team there. So they're more or less
similar between the three of us. You know, you got Towns. And I've got Gobert. You guys have got Towns. I've got Gobert, and that second guard position in the West differs. But apart from that, so that just tells me that, you know, across the board we're going to have
And I'll tell you what, I checked as well, Woods. They actually updated the fan votes today. So, look, obviously we know the fan votes make up a percentage of this. So, just to go through this quickly. So,
tell us.
DeMar DeRozan's miles in front of Trey, who's in second in the guards. Zach LaVine's third and James Harden's fourth, and they're really close. So, Trey, Harden, and Zach LaVine are really close there. So, I think based on that, DeMar DeRozan is probably a lock. It's more the other one there. The East front court is exactly the three we've got. You know, Durant, Giannis, and Joel Embiid are just miles in front of anyone. I think Jason Tatum is about 1.5 million behind Joel Embiid there. For the West, look, Steph Curry is about 3 million votes in front of Ja Morant, who's in second place there. Luka's in third place there. So it's interesting. A guy I picked, Devin Mitchell's only 8th on the fan voting there, and Chris Paul's 7th. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. Look, I think it probably may end up just reading that Ja Morant might make it. In terms of the front court, LeBron and the Joker are miles ahead of everyone. Do you know who's third at the moment in the West front court voting there, Woods? You might be surprised.
LeBron, Joker. It's not Cat, is it?
No. How about some Andrew Wiggins?
Wow.
So that's interesting. So Wiggins, and we've got Paul George and guys like Davis, Draymond. So Cat's down in 8th as well. So look,
You spoke of Anthony Edwards as well. Is he in the mix there?
He's not in the top 10 anyway, but he's probably not far outside of that. So I think he's in the guards. He's 10th in the guards there. So he's got people like, Lillard in front of him who we know will be out there. Westbrook's got a lot higher votes. Westbrook's probably got as much chance as making the All-Star game this year as you and me, so that's not going to happen.
So you're telling me Westbrook is ahead of Anthony Edwards in the West?
He is. So Westbrook, he's also ahead of Chris Paul and Donovan Mitchell. So it just shows you. I mean, this is why they've sort of made it that the fan votes don't decide everything, because you do get some weird ones. I think Klay Thompson's right up there in the votes as well, and he's played about 3 games. So, yeah. Well, no, that was fun to do there then, Wood. So, look, as I said, we will sort of come back in a couple of weeks and go through the reserves there. I'm looking forward to put a bit of time in that. It's going to be hard. I mean, even I was watching a bit of Memphis today, a bit of New Orleans today. I was thinking, Jonas Valanciunas, can I find a spot for him in that All-Star reserves team?
What a great year
he's got to be someone that's up there, right? So, yeah, it'll be interesting. And so obviously how sort of people that haven't played a lot this year will be affected. Can Kyrie make a bench spot? Will Anthony Davis, make it despite sort of being out for so long and everything? So there'll probably be the usual thing where a lot of people pull out. So, eventually some reserves might make it. So it might give some luck for John Collins there maybe. But, yeah, all right, Woods, I appreciate that. That was fun doing that. So, look, I guess next we'll just sort of go on to a little bit of NBL talk.
Yeah, let's do it.
The NBL, Woods, you remember that competition? They play a few games a week. So it actually returned last night. It was really good to have it back. Look, obviously we've had just a handful of games so far this year with the COVID situation. So it's been pretty disappointing, I guess, hasn't it? Sort of, all these, marquee games and everything that have been postponed and everything like that. So, yeah, what's your sort of feel on the NBL at the moment, Woods, and just, how things have been going over the last couple of weeks with it?
Yeah, look, it's been a tough situation. It almost feels like a restart to the season, like a FIBA window or something when no games were played and then we're back playing again. But we've got 7 games in 7 days. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, some of these teams haven't played they were saying yesterday Kings hadn't played for 18 days. Illawarra hadn't played for 25 days, man. It's tough.
I think Southeast even longer, right? I think they've been coming up to a month now.
A lot of these guys are stuck in their hotel rooms, isolating. You can't have proper practices. So it's going to affect teams. But this is the world that we live in. I think much like the Big Bash League have done and had a pool of players that are available as replacement players straight away to come and represent these teams. The NBL should look into that. Maybe even a hub if things get worse with
I was going to say that as well. I think a hub's got to be something that they may be looking into in the background. I know everyone's saying this, wave of COVID's expecting to be sort of over maybe by the end of this month. So hopefully we don't have to go down this path. But, teams like Perth have uprooted their whole team and moved over to Tasmania, and then they've all got, the COVID over there sort of thing. Whereas if they stayed in Perth, they probably would have been safe. So I think, again, I feel sorry for some of the teams like New Zealand and Perth and some of these teams that are just constantly having to be away from home. I mean, the New Zealand situation is almost like Toronto in the NBA last year, isn't it? It's just, imagine uprooting your whole season. Yep, we'll be back home in 6 months, guys.
2 in a row, you got to remember most of last season they were on the road. And I guess guys like Perth are now going to get a feel of what it was like to be New Zealand last year, right? So
Perth were in a hub a lot as well last year. If you remember, Woods, they were in sort of the Gold Coast for quite a while, just with all the border rules in Perth and everything.
That's true.
And look, I guess, we sort of agree we're not going to sort of go through each game this week just because there's been so many cancellations. If they can prove all the games go ahead this week. We'll get back into sort of some predictions and everything next week. But yeah, you're right. Well, 7 games in 7 days. I'm really looking forward to it. Looking forward to tonight's game. New Zealand and Melbourne. There is sort of quite a few sort of marquee games that are coming up this weekend. And your Kings are at home. You're not going to be going to that one.
No, just with the way things are at the moment, and that game's being played behind closed doors. You mentioned tonight in Hobart, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, yesterday was awesome to watch the Kings, and just want to speak on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Ajay Hunter looks like he's got a really bad injury, and he may not be back for the season. He couldn't even walk off the court yesterday.
Sad to see. Yeah.
So I think we could be on the hunt for another important. Sydney have just not been able to get their guys on the court healthy, and that's really Jordan Hunter going down, RJ Hunter going down.
What is the go with Jordan Hunter Woods? Do you know when he's supposed to be back?
He's out for the season now.
He's out for the season. Jeez,
yep.
That's a big loss, isn't it?
Yep, it
and
is.
What's the chances of Kevin Knox ending up in a Kings jersey in this season? Any chance of that?
I hope not, man. I hope he's going to contribute to the Hawks, man.
Either way, you win if he's on one of your teams, anyway.
So we did make our Throwback Hoops debut at the NBL press conference yesterday, and one guy who I've been really impressed with is ex-Perth Wildcat. Now Sydney King, Wani Swakala-Bullock. And I was able to ask him, look, Wani, you didn't get to play a lot in Perth last few years. How does it feel to be in a new environment with a coach that puts trust and faith in you and get this opportunity to start? And he was over the moon, and he said, he loves this new environment and playing under Coach Buford. And then Chase Buford just chimed in and talked so highly in praise of Wani. And he's talking about Wani as a starter going forward, not just a fill-in starter, but a guy that he feels can really gel together and make that starting group better. And he's always taking the most important assignment.
You could tell how close those two were, couldn't you? Just even in that press conference, you could obviously see Buford's got a lot of love for him there. So yeah, I'm really, really happy to see Wani go about it. I always sort of wish he'd probably stayed with Perth, but I'm happy for him to be.
And a lot of people have said, Chase Buford, he's a rich kid's dad. He comes from pedigree. He's just been given this job. He's not going to be a great coach. But you look at guys like Angus Glover, Wani Swakala-Bullock already that are developing under him. And I think that he's going to get it right. I mean, he may not win a championship in his first season, but I think the positive signs are there, and just give him some time to have, some of his guys healthy on the court and see what he can do for the Sydney Kings team. I still got us in the top 4,
It's still, they're still playing good. I mean, they were certainly right in that game last night. And Woods, well done on doing the work and doing the assignment and going to the press conference. I was out playing ball last night, and we missed having you out there, but it was.
How many threes did you make yesterday, man?
I made a couple,
just a couple?
Well, I made 8 last night. So
hey, you won't stop talking about it, guys.
I won't stop talking about it. It probably won't happen for another couple of years. So I've got to make the most of it now. So it's one of those games where the ring just felt like a hula hoop last night. But unfortunately, we had a draw. So I said to the boys after the game, I felt like Trey in that game the other week when he got his career high, but they lost. It's kind of a bit of a sour note at the end of it. But anyway, that's probably enough about our Thursday night Z grade basketball game anyway. But all right. So now, Woods, it's that time, mate. Are you getting excited or what?
Oh, always, man. Always.
Right,
It's been a minute,
ready.
man.
You've got
It's
those
been
cards
a minute.
stuck together. All right. So,
just to prove to everyone, it's a brand new pack. Okay. It's been sitting somewhere on a shelf for the last, do your maths, Robbie, 26 years?
Yeah, that's a long time.
All right. Last time we opened the Skybox pack, man, it wasn't very impressive, was it?
It wasn't the best on that one, so let's hopefully something better here. And let's pull the Hawks card as well. Come on.
All right.
I'll see if I can pull out some fun facts with some of these guys this week, Woods. What do you think?
You always can, man. I knew Tim Duncan was the first pick in the 97 NBA draft. You've got to stop putting me on the spot like that, man. I'm not as good as you.
I like it. You never know when the trivia is coming.
All right, I love this guy. Great shooter. Someone that you and me have both, liked over the years. Most well known for his time at the Seattle Supersonics, Dale Ellis.
Oh, love Dale Ellis back in the day. Yeah, he was one of the original sort of 3-point bombers, wasn't he? Yeah, you're right. He made a sort of a name for himself in Seattle there. And yeah, it seems funny seeing him in that Spurs jersey there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I remember most fondly with Seattle. Okay, now we have a checklist card. What do I do with this? I've forgotten.
You rip it up into 4 bits, chuck it over your shoulder, and we open the next card. It's gone.
Gone, Robbie. It's gone.
Yeah, I'm just thinking back to that last packet we opened, Woods, and there was about 3 people that not anyone listening to this show has even heard of there. So hopefully this pack continues to give us some names, right?
The man on NBA TV all the time, on the panel, New York legend, Kenny the Jet Smith.
I like that one. Yeah, of course. Everyone sort of remembers, the Jet with his commentary now, but he had a great NBA career. He played with Sacramento. He played with the Rockets there. Very good sort of point guard. He had some great hops as well. He had a really good dunk in that dunk comp. Woods, you remember the one when he was back to the basket, threw it through the legs off the backboard and then did a reverse there? So
hell yeah, I do.
He was an amazing athlete there. So, yeah, he seems like a good guy.
You talk about that era, great New York City point guards, Kenny Anderson,
Big
Rod
time.
Strickland, Kenny Smith. There's
love the guy's sense of humor too. He's one of those players that basically retired and he started working, basically on those NBA shows and just had that great sort of, enthusiasm and sort of humor as well. So no, we like the Jet.
All right. I just spoke about this guy. Okay. He saved Tom Gugliotta from a possible near-death experience. Rex Chapman.
Rex Chapman, what a great player. Now, he's got a pretty good podcast going on at the moment, doesn't he? Well, actually, I think he hosts a show where he sort of, shows people falling over and sort of, bloopers and stuff. But another guy that was great in dunk comps, right? Rex Chapman. I love the way that guy went about it. So, yeah, he had a good career, didn't he? I mean, obviously, people remember him probably with Phoenix as well, like with Gugliotta. But, yeah, obviously a Bullets card you've got of him there, right?
Yeah, and this pack is already better than the last Skybox photo we got, right? Okay. Ex-Indiana Pacer, now NBA referee. I used to love this guy's name. Haywood Workman.
Nice.
Marco, my boy.
Former Atlanta Hawk as well, Woods.
Yeah, my boy Marco Niketic. I know you love him, so I know you listen to this show. Haywood Workman, dog. Haywood Workman.
Now, Woods, he's still a current official, isn't he? I can't remember seeing him on the court reffing for a while. So he's still
I haven't
doing it,
for
right?
a minute.
You've noticed him?
Okay. Actually, maybe you want to fact check that. Is he still refereeing, right?
We'll have to look into that. Yeah, he certainly was. But yeah, he had a decent career.
Yeah, was a big fan. Oh, this is awesome. Special edition NBA on NBC. Okay, I had this guy as a special mention as probably one of my favorite centers of all time. Born in Jamaica, all the way to New York City. Who am I speaking of?
Big Pat.
Via Georgetown University.
Very good. Is he about to get blocked, or is he going to throw that one down on that card? You reckon? In front of that card, is he throwing it down?
I reckon he's throwing it down.
Throwing it down. Yeah, he did have some power in those dunks. Yeah, that's a good card, that one. What's the back of that looking like?
Knicks versus Pacers, NBA on NBC.
Yes, it's breaking down the game. They had some good, certainly had some good games, didn't they, those two teams?
Yeah, in that era, a lot of great centers to come out of Georgetown. Can you name a few others, Rob?
Obviously, some Dikembe Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning, your boy, Roy Hibbert.
Yeah, definitely.
Quite a lot, wasn't there? Yeah.
Definitely.
So you can put me on the spot, Woods. I don't mind.
Yeah, well done. I know I can. I know you're better at this. Oh man, we got this insert. I'm pretty sure on the Ultra Flare, one of our favorite top 10 Hawks of all time. He was actually on the sideline yesterday for the Hawks game.
Smitty from the city.
No, big man center.
Dikembe.
No, Kevin Willis.
Well, in fairness, they were all there yesterday, weren't they, with the Dominic's birthday. Smitty from the city and all the other guys were there. So that's a great card, that one.
It was awesome to see them on the sideline yesterday. But
is that going to be called a foul, that card? I think he's trying to wrapping up that Pacer guy there, right?
Yeah, I mean, back then maybe it was called a foul.
It probably would have been just a fair play, right?
Yeah. What a pack this has been.
It is a good pack.
Yeah. All right.
We don't have to Google who some of these people are.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to say this, but Wayman Tisdale.
Wow. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Yes. He did pass away not too long ago.
He did. He was a highly skilled left-hand player, wasn't he?
Man.
Wayman Tisdale there. And he was big into his music, wasn't he, Wayman Tisdale? I know you'll remember that part, Woods. Remember there was that CD that came out back in the day of NBA players with their music sort of stuff there? I know you would have been all over that. So.
Yeah, that had him. That had Brian Shaw, Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
That was sick. I've got that CD somewhere, man.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was
Dana Bayros rapped on that CD.
He did too. Yeah. Rest in peace to the big man, Wayman Tisdale there. Yeah, it's a name I haven't thought about for a while.
What are the chances of me pulling a card of a jersey that we're wearing right now?
Oh, wow. I like it.
And we talked about Rex Chapman helping out his teammate when he was in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Gugliotta.
How good's that? If you can pull an Antonio Daniels, I'll be happy if you get that. That's great, isn't it?
This is as good a pack as we've probably ever pulled, man.
Hey, tell me, Woods, were Googs and Rex Chapman in the same trade? Because they were both with Washington then, and they both were in Phoenix for the next stop. We'll have Have to maybe fact check that as well. There's every chance they could have been in the same trade, I reckon.
That's a very good question. They are very good friends off the court. I've just watched an interview with Googs recently, so maybe you want to check that.
I don't often do this, but I'm going to check this now because I want to find out. That seems a bit sort of too common that they were both with the Bullets then, and then suddenly they're... Okay, so Tom Gugliotta, what do we got here? No. So Googs was traded by Washington to Golden State for Chris Webber. It was interesting. So, no, Rex Chapman got there somewhere else. So, it's interesting. So, they obviously had a few stops, and that's obviously why they were close together, right?
Googs was traded to Washington for Chris Webber.
Yeah, and Rex Chapman, he was a bit of a journeyman in the end, but yeah. Hey, I'm not surprised Googs is not doing much at the moment. He earned $80 million playing, so I'm sure he is kicking back playing golf.
Kicking back, chilling. Hey, check Haywood Workman while you're at it. You might as well.
Okay, Haywood Workman. All right, well, we're here.
He's still refereeing?
How many more cards you got left in that?
Two, man, just two. No, three. I got three.
Okay. So Haywood Workman, okay, yep, he's still a current ref. So maybe we just haven't sort of noticed him playing this year. So, yep, still a current ref. You know, the funny thing is, Woods, I remember him as an Atlanta Hawk, one season with the Hawks.
Yep.
And then he had a lot of sort of stints overseas. Yeah, so bit of a journeyman there. But
CBA as well for a while, you know?
He was. He ended up playing in Israel as well. Anyway, yeah, so he's still reffing.
Okay, so this next card, we've spoken about him. He's no longer welcome in Madison Square Garden, okay? He's well known for his time with the Bulls initially before moving to New York. Charles Oakley.
If I could pick one former or current NBA player to, be a bodyguard or something for me, Woods, he would be the one I would choose in a heartbeat. He's just something about that guy. He's just got that kind of aura about him and everything else like that. But, yeah, love the way he went about it. He had a nice little jump shot there and just an incredible rebounder and physical presence there. So that's a nice card, and that's a Knicks versus Pacers game there as well.
And speaking of New York Knicks over bodyguards, rest in peace to his friend and teammate Anthony Mason, who was LL Cool J's bodyguard. Am I wrong in saying that?
I think probably right, yeah. Yeah. And you're probably not surprised, Woods. I do have a Charles Oakley Knicks jersey in one of the wardrobes as well. So I'll pull that out for one show one time.
Sick.
And Anthony Mason while I'm at it.
Oh, word.
A Charlotte Hornets one or a Charlotte whatever they're called back then.
Sick, man. Yeah. All right. Okay, do remember this guy? Teamed up with Pooh Richardson on the Timberwolves, Michael Williams.
Big fan of Michael Williams. Yeah, he was a former Indiana Pacer as well. Really good point guard there. He was someone that you'll probably find this funny, Woods, but I actually went through a stage where I was collecting Michael Williams cards back in the 90s. So a very sort of a random one there. He seemed to sort of fade out of the league pretty quick there, but he's wearing my favorite number there, and he was a guy I like to watch. So, yeah, blast from the past.
Yeah, he's got that same jersey that I've got with the Pooh Richardson on there. So I think I might rock the same one on one of the shows coming up, man. So big fan of that Wolves team. They were fun, you know?
Definitely.
All right, and the last one is one of our favorites, man. Former number one pick, 1990 NBA draft, if I'm not mistaken. DC, Southpaw, Derek Coleman.
This is a great packet. We've got a checklist to rip up. We've got some people we've been talking about today, some old favorites. So I'm liking that DC card. Yeah.
Yep. This is far and away the best pack that we've got in terms of...
Show me the back of one of those cards. What do the normal ones look like on the back there? They got another photo as well, or what do they got on them? No, okay, so a big photo and then just a couple of stats there.
Yeah, correct me if you're wrong. First round pick 1990, was I?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good pack there, Woods. I enjoyed that.
Great pack. Great fun.
Very good. All right, mate. Well, look, that probably brings us to the end of the show. It's gone quick again. I've really enjoyed sort of doing this the show again this week. Just wanted to say as well, Woods, before we get into our little outro spiel there.
Yep.
Just thank you so much for all the viewers and listeners for checking into the Michelle Tim show last week.
Wow.
We've just been blown away by the amount of views and downloads we've had of this show. You know, without sort of tooting our own horn, we're sort of well into the couple of thousands for this one now, which we're just so pleased with, and we thought it came up really well. She was such a great guest and spoke so candidly about her career there. So thanks so much for Michelle for coming on last week, and thanks everyone for checking out that show. So look, as I sort of mentioned at the start of the show there, Woods, obviously, continue to check out our show weekly on YouTube, and make sure you hit the subscribe button when you're there. And also the podcast will be available, wherever you listen to your podcasts, all the different sort of platforms there. And just a reminder where you can find us there. So look, our Twitter handle is @throwbackshoops. You can also find us on Instagram @throwback.hoops. And of course, our email address, feel free to send in any questions or ideas or anything like that to us. Email address is throwbackhoopspodcast woods@gmail.com. And now, Woods, do you want to maybe just tell us a little bit about your TikTok and maybe a little bit about the Patreon as well?
Yeah, Robbie, sure. So if you want to follow us on TikTok, it's Woody_V83. We'll showcase some of the jerseys and give you little snippets from the show. Patreon, that's one thing, Robbie, that, we really going to start pushing a little bit more. Now, if you like the podcast, if you can jump on to patreon.com/throwback hoops. And for as little as $1 a month, you can pledge your support to us.
$1 a week, right? Yeah.
$1 a week. Sorry, my apologies. You can pledge your support to us. And Robbie, what kind of expenses and help would that give us?
Yeah, look, it would really sort of help us. I mean, we don't want to seem like we're sort of asking for money to try and retire from our day jobs, but look, probably not a lot of people realize there are a lot of ongoing costs associated with sort of bringing a podcast. There's all, web places. There's, the Squadcast where we record our podcasts. There's all the different software we use for editing and everything else like that. So, look, it really would assist us, obviously, to do it. And, look, obviously, we're going to give something back to anyone that does sign up to Patreon there. So we'll certainly make sure we get them one of our hot Throwback Hoops T-shirts as well right there, Woods. And, look, also, we'll continue to bring some special sort of things. We'll maybe sort of have some sort of bonus content and everything else like that for our people that sign up to Patreon there. So, yeah, please feel free to have a look at that. As Woody said, if you search on the Patreon website and type in Throwback Hoops, and if you can, we'd love the support there, guys, and we'll certainly continue to bring these shows on a weekly basis anyway. All right, that's great. So look, Woods, as you said, you're going to sort of stay away from the Kings game this week, but I think like yourself, I'll be watching a lot of these games on TV. I think the Wildcats' next game might have been moved again, so I'll probably just be checking the local guides.
I think they're playing Adelaide on Tuesday now.
I think it's Tuesday now, yeah. So let's hopefully that game goes ahead because I'm sort of craving some Wildcats sort of stuff there. But you got anything else to say before we're out today, bro?
No, not at all, man. I mean, you got to do something about that mustache. It's been 15 episodes and you're still rocking it, man. It's about time. Earlier, before we recorded the show, both your daughter and me gave a massive thumbs down to it. So my question to you is, how long are you going to – November's long gone, bro. You're going to keep till next November?
It's been gone a few months now, hasn't it? Yeah, I must admit, I'm sweating a little bit now in this hot room I'm in, Woods, so I probably wish I didn't have it. But anyway. It's
jokes, brother. Just jokes. Keep it if you want.
Good stuff, mate. Well, yeah, look, really just wanted to thank everyone for tuning into the show this week. It's been great fun sort of bringing it again. We've got some great guests coming up, Woods. I can't say any more enough about that. We've really got some big name guests lined up that we're sort of going to bring over the next couple of weeks. We'll try and sort of have a guest and maybe just have you and I and sort of interchange that week to week. But yeah, keep sort of tuning in, subscribing. You will not be disappointed with the guests we've got coming.
Yeah, I guess one more thing. Email us your questions. I think we're at a point now where we can start picking that up a little bit, Robbie, and answering some more viewer questions. We've got a few in the pipeline that we need to answer, but please send them through. Hey, send us your all-star starting five. Who you think should be starting in the West and East?
Send some jersey requests. I actually had someone reach out to me the other week and ask if I had any Brent Barry jerseys. So the answer is yes, I do, and I'll hopefully be wearing one of those soon. So if you've got any jersey suggestions you'd like to see us rock for the show, please let us know, and we'd love to hear from you guys. So. Yep. All right. So, look, much love from all the Throwback Hoops crew. Can't wait to do it all again next week. And peace out.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.